going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I went ahead and checked out Season 2 for Skate, and I gotta be real with you guys, I do apologize for the gameplay. I haven't touched this game in quite some time, because to be honest with you guys, during Season 1, I was literally ready to uninstall the overall Skate experience, but I can't, because I love Skate as a franchise. I still have a slight bit of hope that they can turn things around, so I wanted to hop into Season 2. And I'm going to be completely real with you guys. You know, a lot of people who've been watching me for a while now might think I'm a certified Skate hater. But Season 2 did not do that bad. They actually introduced a decent amount of good core fundamental features, some nice changes to the overall atmosphere, but we're still not there yet. And I'm worried, as always, that if they can't get anything under control while they're still pumping out seasons and pumping out events and pumping out paid, cosmetics in the store, while the game is still severely undercooked, it could do a lot more harm for the game's reputation than good. But, ladies and gentlemen, of course, before we go and dive on deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget subscribing to the bell. It posts twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and start off with the most important factors before we dive into why I'm still stressed and worried about Skate here. First and foremost, I added in a brand new trick, the Impossible, which looks absolutely amazing. I said it when this game first launched, that the team who's working on Skate, they are nailing the animations. Like everything else, it's a lot of stuff missing. Obviously, this is like a bare bone version of what Skate should be, but holy smokes. When it comes to the animations and how clean the tricks look and how good it feels to actually land the tricks and get into a smooth line, oh my goodness, it's beautiful in this game. I have to give them props for that. They also went ahead and added in keyframes for anybody who's curious about editing, footage, which I think is massive. The community's been waiting for keyframes for, basically since the beginning of the launch of this game, which is kind of embarrassing, but guess what, guys? It's finally here. So for those who like to actually record and, do some cool things, by all means, now is the time to do such. And they also added in a handful of interesting locations on this map. For example, what I'm skating right here, it's a little underground tunnelway, which is awesome. Honestly, I absolutely love this spot. I'm addicted. I'm hooked. And this isn't the only spot. I actually recorded a couple of other locations, which I'll be showcasing throughout this whole video. But there's a bunch of different locations. A bunch of rooftops have some pretty dope bowls that you can skate around. There's some interesting ramps here and there. And of course, you have more locations as you're watching right here, the underground passageway, where it's kind of more street skating. But, overall, not too shabby compared to the previous season. I've been having a decent amount of fun skating around, finding the new spots, and just enjoying the overall vibes of skating. And ladies and gentlemen, the developers working over on Skate are also trying to change up the vibes of what this game looks like, which I'm extraordinarily thankful for. Of course, they're not nailing it just yet, but I'm just happy that they're looking at it because, again, I think a lot of us can agree, the game just looked too cartoonish, too Fortnite-ish. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Skate always looked, extraordinarily realistic, although, the original Skates did have a lot more of a grittier charm to it, but still, Skate 3 wasn't like the most realistic looking game in the world, but man, this Fortnite style or whatever, it reminds me of the new Need for Speed game that they went ahead and launched, which wouldn't shock me if they took inspiration from that game because it is, under EA as well. If you guys remember all those, purple, pink and all those flashy color sparks that are flying out, and again, the overly cartoonish looking, game itself. It seems they were trying to take a page out of that book, but I'm happy that they're shifting because, to me personally, that's just not skateboarding. I'm going to be honest. That's not skateboard culture either. I think the grittiness is definitely something that should be more so focused when it comes to the game. And as you can see right here, this post is kind of mocking, the change up to the characters. But this looks much better. I will say this character looks absolutely drained, okay, mopped. But this isn't the end. They're not done fixing up the characters after this. They're still going to be putting in more work. So I'm hoping as they continuously fine-tune how the characters look and how the map looks, we can get a lot better of a style within the overall experience, which I'm personally excited for. But ladies and gentlemen, it's not all sunflowers, rainbows, candy, unicorns. It's not all that, or else I would have titled this video something completely different. Skate is still suffering tremendously. I gotta be real. Although there's some interesting additions with this overall season update, to me personally, it just doesn't feel like a season update, if that makes any sense, It feels more like a partial event over actually having Season 2 come into the game. Now, I was maybe expecting a brand new big portion of the map to come on out, or, a much larger line of tricks to go ahead and accomplish, or game modes that I can actually play and have me come back into the overall, cycle of the game itself, but it's not really much. As I stated, it's a handful of, fun skate spots. Not saying they're bad. They are pretty fun. and a bunch more cosmetics, and that's around about it. To me personally, if you didn't tell me anything, I would not think that a new season just dropped. I'm being so honest with you guys. If I was not up to date online, if I didn't, see what's going on, if they didn't update the load-in page to showcase that we're moving on to a brand new season, I would genuinely think that it was just a minor update to change a few things around, and that's all we're getting. That's how down bad a lot of these updates are. And as I stated in previous videos, I can't really blame the developers because they're playing a massive game of catch-up right now when it comes to the Skate universe. The game just simply wasn't ready. It wasn't. This game needed at least another year plus in the oven until it was at a solid point for them to start consistently pumping out content alongside it. But the game is still very bare bone. The reality is right now, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you're hopping on Skate, you're hopping on this game to play it for like maybe 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more until you hop off. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. It's nice to have a game that you can kick back on after a long day of work and just skate around a little bit and enjoy. But if they really want this game to have some longevity to it, and they really want people to come back and they want to treat it as a real live service game that's going to be extraordinarily populated and people are going to be swooping on in and playing it all the time, they need to give players an incentive to want to play besides just grinding for cosmetics, because that's all we're doing right now. If you were to go ahead and log into Season 2, as I stated, yeah, you can try out some of the new, areas on the map and some different ramps, but 9 times out of 10, you're just going to be grinding for points to complete the Battle Pass once again. And sadly, the Battle Pass, as always, is stuffed with the most interesting content. I'll say that much. Of course, some of the clothes aren't that bad. I understand that each battle pass has a theme and a time period to follow. But bro, I gotta be honest, these emotes are the most cringe thing in the freaking universe. And I genuinely don't understand why some of them are in this game. And I'm all for goofy stuff in Skate. Like we used to be able to skate around as a slab of meat back in Skate 3. I think you can actually get the outfit now in the brand new Skate. It's sad though, because the outfit now is an actual outfit, whereas in Skate 3 you were a literal slab of meat. I'm all for goofy stuff like that. It's pretty funny, and at the end of the day, we have to understand we are playing a game here. But when you have my character doing the most ridiculous dance moves and the most cringe-worthy stuff, like I'm not gonna lie to you guys, scrolling through the battle pass, I straight up cringed for over half of it. Like vividly cringed. Like my whole body language shifted on stream. My facial expression shifted. It was like, what is this? Why is this in a Skate game? Oh man, that needs some serious work. But as I was saying before, that's the main purpose for hopping back into Skate right now. And I think that's Skate's biggest problem, because a lot of people are leaving the game because they're starting to see that instead of getting meaningful updates where it's a lot of content coming in and we finally have a full-fledged out Skate game, we're getting very minor updates, minor fixes and minor changes and, minor additions to the game, while they're stuffing microtransactions in. Like, it's an incomplete product that's not ready to be shipped, but their microtransaction model is completely good to go, and they're ready to sell us the world. And the problem is this isn't the developer's fault. They have nothing to do with this. This is all EA. But sadly, EA will indeed bring down the ship. Whether the developers like it or not, this is going to be devastating because, as I stated, players are coming in. And if they treated it more like a real early access game, where there wasn't anything to buy, we're just here to test things out and, try new things, and maybe they have some minor updates here and there where they do change up some, parts of the map and allow us to skate around different, sections. I feel like, people wouldn't be as pissed right now, but because they have a full-fledged out store, they're constantly begging for money, constantly shoving things to buy in your face, while the game has nothing to play for besides hopping on for 20, 30 minutes at a time to skate around a bit, is just insulting enough to push players away. I mean, shoot, even the community parks are still absolute garbage. Like, how long as a community have we been complaining about the community parks being trash? The one that I'm showcasing to you guys right now is probably the best one that's in the rotation right now. This is actually kind of fun, indoors and outdoors. I enjoy skating this one up. But, I mean, my God, I'm not even going to bother showcasing to you guys what the other ones look like. It's no point. They are, I'm not lying, they are horrible. It doesn't even look like it's anything going on. You look across and it's basically all flat terrain. And you're thinking to yourself, what the heck is this? And I see a bunch of posts on Reddit as well, people talking about them putting together parkour maps. Like, guys, I'm sorry to say, but this is a skateboarding game. I'm not logging in, and I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't logging in to do parkour in a game that's called Skate. I'm sorry, we aren't. I understand they put a lot of time into, putting in the physics and, the wall jumping and the climbing and all that stuff. But I don't care. I don't think a lot of you guys care. We log into Skate to skateboard. That's the fun. Like, I don't know what's happening. And they don't really give us any incentives to hop back in, as I stated, besides just playing for a little bit. And even back in a game like Skate 3, for example, yes, I would hop in the game to skate. You know, it is what it is. But I would always boil down to playing something, even if it's just a game of Skate, you know? I just enjoy that part of the overall, Skate gameplay loop. And it's just not there for us. We still can't play Skate in a game that is called Skate. Like, there's so many things that need to be added into the experience to add that replayability, to encourage me and a lot of you guys to hop back into the game, that is still not present. And I don't know if this is going to be enough still. I want it to be, because there's a lot of cool introductions. But between not having many things to hop back into besides grinding out a battle pass, the performance of the game is still absolutely horrifying. Even, like I get it, keyframes is back, but my goodness, even trying to go to the replay editor and to get it to function without it stuttering every 5 seconds is a nightmare. I don't know how anybody does it, because mine just doesn't work functionally. I can't even see any other characters skating around the map, and if I do, they're all stuttering and lagging about. Like, honestly, I can't even imagine playing a game of Skate with the connectivity that I have to other players right now. And my connection's fine. A lot of our connections are fine. I see it all over Reddit as well, people running into the same exact issues where players are just stuttering everywhere, nobody's loading in. It's just, there's so much work to be done. Season 2 is a step in the correct direction, and I see the passion the developers have. But my biggest concern, because again, I want Skate to thrive. I don't want it to die. Trust me, I do not want to see this game die, but as I stated, my biggest concern is that by the time they get it up, active, everything that should have been in this game day one is finally there, all the game modes, all the replayability, I have a bad feeling that by the time we get there, people are just done. They're not going to enter back into the overall project. I hope that's not the case, and I hope that I get proved wrong. But at the pace that we're going here and watching the player count continuously dwindle, it's not looking too hot. I just hope that Skate doesn't end up offing itself and it can still find a way to thrive in this overall marketplace. But, ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. It posts twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, guys are interested, got a link to that channel in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all next one. Peace out.